$200. That is less than most people spend on takeout every month. Less than a car payment. Less than a gym membership you never use, plus a streaming service, plus that subscription box that keeps showing up even though you forgot you signed up for it. $200 a month. And yet, that exact number, invested the right way, into the right thing, turns into over $1 million. Not $1 million if you get lucky. Not $1 million if you pick the right stock. Not $1 million if some crypto coin moons. Bleo. $1 million. Mathematically. Guaranteed by the same force that built every major fortune in modern history. And almost nobody is doing it. Not because they can't. Because nobody ever showed them the actual numbers. Until right now. Let's talk about what really happens when you invest $200 a month into the stock market. Let's talk about the math most financial advisors gloss over. Let's talk about why this works, why most people miss it, and exactly what you need to do to be one of the people who doesn't. First, you need to understand one thing, one idea, one concept that changes the entire way you look at money. It is called compound interest. And Albert Einstein, one of the greatest minds in human history, reportedly called it the eighth wonder of the world. He said, "Those who understand it earn it. Those who don't, pay it." Here is what compound interest actually means in plain English. Ad asa. Your money makes money, and then that money makes more money. And then that money makes even more money. Over and over. Year after year. Quietly. Invisibly. Without you doing a single thing. Let me show you what that looks like in real numbers. Say you invest $200 this month. The market gives you a 10% return over the year. That is the historical average of the S&P 500, one of the most well-documented numbers in all of finance. Not a guess, not a projection, a historical average stretching back nearly a century. So your $200 becomes $220. 20 extra dollars. Not exciting yet, but here is where it gets interesting. Next year, you are not earning 10% on just your original $200. You are earning 10% on $220. And the year after that, on the new, slightly larger number. And the year after that, every single year, the base gets bigger. Every single year, the growth compounds on top of growth. And when you do that for long enough, the numbers become almost unbelievable. Let me give you the exact breakdown. You invest $200 a month, every month. Rain or shine, market up, market down. You do not stop, you do not panic, you do not try to time anything. Right, you just invest $200 every single month into an index fund that tracks the S&P 500. After 5 years, you have put in $12,000 of your own money. With compound growth at 10% annually, your account sits at around $15,500. Not life-changing, but you are already ahead of the money you put in. After 10 years, you have contributed $24,000. Your account has grown to roughly $41,000. You made $17,000 without working for it. After 20 years, you have put in $48,000 of your own money. Your account is sitting at approximately $152,000. You have more than tripled your contribution. And this is where people start to feel it. This is where compound interest starts to look less like math and more like magic. After 30 years, you have contributed $72,000 total. Your account has grown to around $452,000. After 35 years, your contributions total $84,000. Your account is closing in on $760,000. And after 40 years of $200 a month, never once missing, never once increasing the amount, your account holds over $1.2 million, $1,260,000 from $96,000 total of your own money. The rest, over $1 million, was created by compound growth. You did not earn that million. The market grew it. Time grew it. The system did the work. Now I know what some of you are thinking. 40 years is a long time. You are not wrong. But here is the thing nobody tells you. You are going to be alive in 40 years, whether you invest or not. The question is not whether 40 years will pass. The question is whether you will have $1 million when they do. A 25-year-old who starts today will hit that number at 65. Retirement age. Right when they need it. A 30-year-old who starts today, 65, becomes 75, still alive, still potentially functional. But 10 years of compounding lost forever. And here is the brutal part about starting late. Those last 10 years, the years between year 30 and year 40, those are not just any years. Those are the most powerful years of the entire journey. Because by year 30, your base is already massive. The growth in those final years is enormous. You do not lose 10 years of $200 contributions by waiting. You lose hundreds of thousands of dollars in compound growth. That is the hidden cost of waiting. That is what nobody puts in the brochure. Now let's talk about the actual vehicle. Because this only works if you are investing in the right thing. And the right thing is an index fund. Specifically, something that tracks the S&P 500. The S&P 500 is a list of 500 of the largest publicly traded companies in America. Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, Berkshire Hathaway, Eitland Turkanaget. 500 companies, representing the backbone of the American economy. When you buy an index fund that tracks the S&P 500, you are not betting on one company. You are betting on the entire economy. You are saying, I believe America's biggest businesses will be worth more in the future than they are today. And history has rewarded that bet. Every single decade, through recessions, through wars, through crashes, through pandemics, the S&P 500 has recovered. Every single time. And over long stretches, it has returned an average of roughly 10% per year. Now, will it return exactly 10% every year? No. Some years it returns 20%. Some years it drops 30%. But averaged out over decades, 10%. Historically reliable, historically consistent, historically proven. And here is what makes this even better. Usboma. You can buy into this index fund with zero trading fees. You can set it up in 30 minutes. You can automate it so the $200 leaves your account every month without you touching a thing. Set it and forget it completely. The best known options are funds like VOO or SPY for the S&P 500 or VTI for the total stock market. They are offered by companies like Vanguard, Fidelity, and Schwab. Low fees, massive diversification. Decades of proven performance. This is not a secret. Warren Buffett, the most successful investor in history, has publicly, repeatedly said that most people should just put their money in a low-cost S&P 500 index fund and leave it there. The man who made his entire fortune picking individual stocks tells regular people not to pick individual stocks. Think about that. Think about what it means that the greatest stock picker alive says, don't do what I do. Because what he does requires a lifetime of mastery, a team of analysts, billions of dollars in resources, and decades of relationship building. What you can do requires a brokerage account and $200 a month. Now let's talk about the one thing that ruins this for most people. Sanonyaskaya, the one enemy of this entire strategy. It is not the market. It is not fees. It is not inflation. It is you. More specifically, it is your emotions. Here is what happens to most investors. The market drops 30%. The news goes crazy. Everyone is panicking. Your account looks terrible. And your brain, your very intelligent, very well-meaning, evolutionarily designed for survival brain, screams at you, get out. Sell everything. Stop the bleeding. Wait until it recovers. And almost every time, people listen. They sell. They lock in their losses. They wait for things to feel safe again. And then the market recovers. Usually faster than anyone expected. And the people who stayed in? They captured every dollar of that recovery. The people who got out, they missed it. And here is the maddening part. A market crash is not your enemy when you are in the accumulation phase. It is actually your friend. When the market drops, your $200 buys more shares. You are buying at a discount. Those extra shares you bought at the bottom, they grow just like everything else when the market recovers. Drops are not disasters for long-term investors. They are sales. They are the stock market going on clearance. The strategy for surviving this emotionally is called dollar cost averaging. And it is exactly what this whole plan is built on. You invest a fixed amount every month, no matter what. When the market is high, your 200 buys fewer shares. When the market is low, your 200 buys more shares. Over time, you end up with an average cost that smooths out the peaks and valleys. You stop trying to time the market. You stop watching the news. You stop second-guessing. You just invest every month, like clockwork. And the math does the rest. Now I want to address the most common objection. Vi hade wak ki confetta. Because I already know what some of you are thinking. I don't have $200 a month. I hear this constantly. And I want to challenge it. Not dismiss it. Challenge it. Because for most people, it is not entirely true. Let me ask you something. Do you have a streaming service you barely use? Do you eat out more than a few times a week? Do you buy coffee from a cafe most mornings? Do you have subscriptions you forgot about charging quietly in the background? Do you spend anything on things you buy impulsively? Things you did not plan? Things you could have done without? If the honest answer is yes to even 2 or 3 of those, $200 is closer than you think. And here is what shifts when you see it clearly. Every coffee you buy is not just a $5 purchase. At 10% annual growth over 40 years, that $5 becomes $226. Every unnecessary subscription is not just $15 a month. It is the difference between a retirement account and a number that never quite gets there. I am not saying deprive yourself. I am not saying be miserable. I am saying be intentional. Because the trade-off is real. Short-term comfort for long-term wealth. Or short-term comfort and nothing. And for some of you watching right now, truly finding $200 a month is genuinely hard. You are working multiple jobs. Bills are tight. The margin is thin. Start with 50. Start with 25. Start with $10. Because the most important thing is not the amount. The most important thing is starting. $10 a month at 25 for 40 years at 10%, over $63,000. From $4,800 of contributions, you built $63,000 from $10 a month. And as your income grows, as you get raises, as side income comes in, as expenses drop, you increase the amount. The habit is the foundation. The habit is everything. Let me also talk about where to hold this investment, because this matters more than most people realize. If you're investing in a regular taxable brokerage account, every year you owe taxes on your gains. But if you invest inside a tax-advantaged account, everything changes. In the U.S., a Roth IRA is one of the most powerful tools available to regular people. You contribute money that has already been taxed. It grows completely tax-free inside the account. And when you withdraw it in retirement, you pay 0 tax. Not a little tax. 0. That $1 million you grew? All yours. The government does not get a cut on the way out. There are contribution limits, currently around $7,000 a year for most people. $200 a month falls well within that. A Roth IRA, holding a low-cost S&P 500 index fund with $200 automated every month. That is the entire strategy. 3 components. Account type. Asset. Automation. That is it. There is no secret 4th ingredient. There is no special knowledge you need. There is no timing the market, no stock picking, no quarterly reviews, no financial advisor charging you 1% of your balance every year to do what you can do yourself in 30 minutes on a Sunday afternoon. Let me show you one final comparison that I want you to really sit with. Person A starts at 25. They invest $200 a month until age 65, 40 years. At 10% annual growth, they end up with $1.2 million. Person B waits. They tell themselves they'll start when the time is right, when they have more money, when the market feels safer. They start at 35 instead. They invest the same $200 a month. They have 30 years until 65 instead of 40. They end up with $452,000. Both people invested $200 a month. Both people used the same index fund. The only difference was 10 years. Person A has $1.2 million. Person B has $450,000. The gap is over $750,000, created by a single decade of waiting. $750,000. Gone. Not because of bad investments, not because of bad luck, because of waiting for the right moment. There is no right moment. The right moment was yesterday. The second best moment is today. And tomorrow, the gap gets a little bigger. Here is what I want you to walk away with. The stock market is not a casino. It is not a place for people with special knowledge or insider connections. It is a system. A slow, boring, powerful, mathematically beautiful system. And $200 a month is not a small amount. It is $1 million decision. Made once. Set up once. Automated. And then lived with. Through the highs. Through the lows. Through the crashes and the recoveries and the news cycles and the panic. Just $200. Every month. Without stopping. And the math does the rest. The only question left is whether you are going to be the person who does it, or the person who watches someone else do it and wonders what might have been. If this video made something click for you, if you finally see money differently after watching this, then you need to subscribe to this channel right now. Woes, because this is what we do here. No fluff. No get-rich-quick nonsense. No hype. Just real numbers, real strategies, and real talk about building wealth from wherever you are right now. Hit the subscribe button. Turn on notifications so you never miss a video. And if this video helped you, share it with one person who needs to see it. One person in your life who is still waiting for the right moment. Send it to them. It might be the most valuable thing you do for them today. I will see you in the next one.